So I lost my sister to to the drug epidemic and trafficking. She was missing for 2 months, and then her body was found in a river in Mississippi. She was taken from Memphis. So that was tough on me. I was a former Greenbrier CIA guy, so I have a background in manhunting, counterterrorism, and basically intelligence work. So I decided to do something about it, and I started Operation Lightshine to answer a big problem we have in the United States is that there's no task forces or coordination to work human trafficking. And the human trafficking crosses, oceans, it crosses borders from state to state to state. And the way our law enforcement is set up, it's really not geared to fight that and to adequately investigate it. So I started Operation Lightshine to start to fix that. Created a task force concept, federal, state, and local agents all working together to save people who are being trafficked. Lightshine grew quick. It's in multiple states around the country and still growing fast. I resigned as the CEO of Lightshine in summer of 2023 because I wanted to get back to the more strategic and, I guess, focused fight on this because Operation Lightshine became, fighting it regionally with law enforcement. But, I want to be on the more strategic level going against this because right now, human trafficking is the second largest crime in the world. It just recently surpassed weapons for money. And, of course, it's number two behind drugs. So Sentinel fights human trafficking globally. We have an amazing team of Delta Force operators, special forces guys, former federal agents who work by, with, and through law enforcement around the world to save children specifically. We mainly focus on children because children you can rehabilitate. Adults, it's a lot more difficult and a lot more costly. Other organizations, we do that, we will do it, but we focus on saving kids. And child trafficking is just absolutely out of control. There's just not enough money or enough people to stop that as it is. Now we're working on getting task forces here in the United States, but at a state level and not working with the federal government, but not partnering with the federal government. Because I'm sure, as we've seen, and this kind of goes into what we've talked about, there's politics affect what's quote unquote right or what you're allowed to do too much. So we figured at the state level we could have more of an impact. So Governor DeSantis and State Attorney Bain have asked me to build a task force for the state of Florida. We're working on that. Budget's in the Speaker of the House's desk right now. I've been working with a bunch of the former lieutenant governor and a bunch of people in North Carolina to get a task force there. Unfortunately, we don't have a task force in the works for Tennessee, but we do assist law enforcement with investigations, and a lot of the officers know what numbers to call, when they need some help with things. Officially in Tennessee has been very difficult because of TBI. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but they don't play well with others, and they have not wanted our help. Whereas many governors around the country are calling me asking for help. TBI won't even let me help them. It's been a mess. I hope that changes. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but we've all got to work together to fix this. But yeah, and I also am the Chief Development Officer and owner of a company called True North. We do strategic intelligence, manhunting, and financial tracking globally. We have contracts all over Africa, all over the Middle East. And we're partnered with multiple governments, and we basically are just trying to fight crime, drugs, illegal illicit arms trade, and fight terrorism around the world.
Talk about the dangers of gangs specifically
Yes.
related to human trafficking.
Right. Well, so gangs are not what people think that they used to be anymore. It's not just this local neighborhood group of guys, the bad boys, if you will, that just do drugs and harass people and commit crimes. These gangs are very organized because of technology, specifically, the internet and how easily we can communicate and how we can hide communications. Most of these gangs are, international networks now, and they have logistical systems that will make FedEx jealous, when it comes to moving guns, when it comes to moving people, drugs, money, and all those kinds of things. And there's no such thing really anymore as a small town gang. Most of these gangs get recruited into national and international organizations and then are aligned or have some type of allegiance to multiple cartels. So you're not just dealing with your local neighborhood gangbanger anymore, and you're not just dealing with capability and quite honestly, the fear that they can instill and what they can do. For instance, human trafficking. Everybody thinks it's this big, well, not everyone. A lot of people think it's this big conspiracy. This, this boogeyman's going to come by in a white van and snatch your child off the streets. That's just not the truth. That is the rare exception, not the norm. What's happening is they're bringing people from all over the world into the U.S., trafficking these children in silence. No one knows they're missing. No one knows they're gone. And quite frankly, no one cares because by the time they get into the U.S., if they had parents, nobody even knows where they are anymore, right? They just assume they're dead. And these kids get sent all over the country through these gangs. And then the gangs are what you call the end user a lot of times for the children and the drugs, because they're the last hands in the criminal organizations that the child or the people or the drugs touch, and then they start to sell that and move those things throughout the community. So that's why it's something that people never see. And we try to tell people this all the time, but numbers just don't seem real anymore, because I mean, it just was made public. We've lost over 400,000 children here in the U.S. Lost, like they're gone, and the gangs have a lot to do with that.
Have you heard anything about TDA Tren De Aragua?
I have. They're a pretty nasty group, and they're tied into cartels, of course, and they're violent. They're evil, and there's a lot of gangs here. So the problem is gangs are not as what you think they used to be anymore. Where again, they're in the neighborhood harassing people. This is organized crime. These people are cold. They're calculated, and they're about the money. And you get in their way, bad things are going to happen. So I pray law enforcement can start to do something about it.